Michigan basketball lands who will be a junior guard, Nirmari Burnett, out of Alabama. He started his career, his first season at Texas Tech. This is a guy that Juwan Howard recruited heavily originally a few cycles ago in the recruiting process. Michigan lands him now and adds to what, is kind of a lacking guard depth. But this is a big pickup for Michigan. If you look at Nirmari Burnett's stats, they're not necessarily eye-popping. He averaged 5.6 points, 2 rebounds, less than an assist per game last season. You have to remember a couple things. One, he was on an absolutely loaded Alabama roster. That was the favorite to win the national title coming into the NCAA tournament. Of course, they lose to Brian Dutcher in San Diego State in the Sweet 16. But this is a guy that was highly touted coming out of high school, number 29 overall player in the country in 2020, according to the On3 industry ranking. He also was slowed by a wrist injury this season as well, but he hit multiple three-pointers in 7 games. Doesn't have a super great clip from 3. I'm looking at his KenPom page right now. 32.1% on 84 attempts, so 27 of 84. Not necessarily fantastic there, but he does have potential as a shooter. 2-point numbers, just decent at 19 of 41, 46.3%. But you got to remember that the sample size was a little bit smaller. You got to remember that he is going to be a year older and develop under Juwan Howard here when he gets to campus. And then one more note before I get your reaction, Anthony, on this is, yes, you may be thinking he already transferred here to use his one-time transfer. Will he be eligible for Michigan? According to an article I have pulled up here from TuscaloosaNews.com, he is slated, and if this is still his plan, then this is going to be what happens, but he is slated to get enough credits to graduate this summer from Alabama and then move to his new school, which looks like now it will be Michigan. So he'll be a graduate transfer and immediately eligible if things play out the way he planned to. And this article was written just yesterday on March 29th. So in him discussing his transfer there this season, but he said he loved this time in Alabama, but is looking for something new. And Juwan Howard had that pre-existing relationship. And here he is adding now to a Michigan roster in an ever important offseason.
Yeah. And it's funny how things come full circle. And, in one of Juwan Howard's first ever press conferences.
I was going to bring this up. Yeah.
This is why he was still recruiting Hunter Dickinson and some other guys, but he name dropped Nimari Burnett in a press conference, and Michigan's SID immediately, all the color leaves his face and he steps out in the hallway to send text messages and make a phone call. You can't name recruits by name. Obviously Juwan was new to the job then. And
yeah, and they self-reported. They self-reported, and it was behind him quickly. But very funny moment, and the fact that Nirmari Burnett, I think Isaiah Todd was in that group, maybe Hunter.
It was. I just pulled up the quote. It was he named dropped Hunter Dickinson, Moses Moody, and Nimari Burnett.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. That was back when Juwan actually liked talking to us. So those were good times. But yeah, I wonder. I wonder if this means what I think it means. R.E. Kobe Buffkin, the recent buzz.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up too. Yeah,
suggests that it might be, he kind of might be a 2 and done. And if so, best of luck to him. If you're going to the transfer portal, I think Nimari Burnett is probably. No one's going to replace Kobe Buffkin, but a former fringe 5-star guy. You look at his stats. He's played about 15 minutes a game in his career. You'd have to think if he's a start, he's probably going to double that. So you're looking at a guy that can probably score 11, 12 points a game. You'd like to see him shoot a little bit more a little bit better from 3-point range, especially, assuming he'd be playing the 2-guard spot. I like that Burnett is going to give them a guard that has a little bit of size. Kobe's 6'4", Burnett is 6'4". You look at some of the other guard options in the transfer portal, and it's guys that are 6 foot or 6'1", or these Ivy League transfers that move up. I don't think it would be good news for Michigan to have a 5'11" point guard playing next to a 6 foot shooting guard or what have you. So to have that length there is important. He just hasn't had the chance to play a lot of basketball. Only played 12 games at Texas Tech. Came off the bench, he started 9 games at Alabama this past year, but Yeah, I mean, it's all about opportunity and it's about growth and obviously got to stay healthy. That's a big part of it too. But it's a good pickup. When it was announced he was going to be in the portal, I tweeted out to keep an eye on that one with the Chicago connection in the back of my head with him and Juwan, and it came together quickly. All right, I mean it was less than a day later. So and they're not done yet either. They started to add some other guys to the board, and when Juwan. The one thing about Juwan Howard is that when he runs the point on a recruitment, announcements tend to come out of nowhere. So we're going to put an updated transfer portal board out, but there are going to be guys like Nimari Burnett. The ink wasn't even dry on one I was putting together, and Burnett's in the class. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's a good pickup. I think it's premature to say what his role might be. Who knows? Maybe Kobe comes back and you run a 3-guard lineup out there. I think that's on the table. But there's no bad options here, in my opinion.
Yeah, so he played some 3 last year for them, was mostly a 2, but again, I mean, it was in limited minutes, and I think that, he's versatile. Juwan Howard likes that. He can play different spots. I think, maybe it is an indication that Kobe Buffkin's gone. I think it's more of a security, blanket type of thing where it's like, if Kobe does end up leaving, and again, I think we may end up waiting on Kobe until that May 31 deadline, or maybe, a week before, that sort of thing. But where you go through the combine, you see where your stock's at, then you make your final decision from there. I would expect him to declare test the process. I mean, it'd be pretty stunning if a guy who has first round projection doesn't do that. Especially with some of the buzz that's coming out. So I would expect Kobe to do that. You still wait on him, and there's always going to be a spot for Kobe Buffkin, but you can't wait around. If you have a guy like Nirmari Burnett that you like, that you have a relationship with, that has mutual interest and that can play, then you go after him and get him. Thinking right now about the guard situation for Michigan, you have Doug McDaniel there. You could bring back Jalen Llewellyn. That would have to be mutual choice. I think that Michigan would take him if he wanted to come back, but they're working on getting him healthy at this point. You have Nirmari Burnett. You have the potential of bringing back Kobe Buffkin. Depends on how you label some other guys like Yusef Kayat, like a Jace Howard, like a Joey Baker, who's technically listed as a guard, but more of a wing. So now you have some options. I mean, you still want – the thing is, like, if this is a 1-for-1 thing and Kobe leaves and Nirmari Burnett comes in and that's about all you do, and Jalen Llewellyn doesn't come back, then you're in the same spot in terms of depth that you were last year. You still want either Llewellyn or another guy that could play in the backcourt if he needed to. And based on Michigan's activity in the transfer portal, like you were talking about, and looking at the transfer board, they realize that. But it always is interesting once you get a guy, what the next steps are and what we notice about what Michigan's doing in the portal after that. So if they continue to go after some of these guards that they're in on, then it could, tell us maybe more about Kobe, but also more about Llewellyn, or where just the guard depth is going to be in general. But man, that's all I got on Nirmari Burnett. An exciting pickup for Michigan. I think, reading the room on the message board over at thewolverine.com, people are excited to, one, that they moved pretty quickly here, and 2, that they're adding to their backcourt. But anything else on Nirmari?
Not much else to add on him. The other thing I'll say, kind of in conjunction with this, Jake Weingarten reported that St. John's transfer AJ Storr has had some contact with Michigan as well. Storr is a guy who he just finished his true freshman season at St. John's. Coaching change there. Rick Pitino's there. Rick Pitino basically says, hey, I'm basically flipping this entire roster. So if you're not into it, maybe look somewhere else. AJ Storr does. Played 33 games this year. Started 17. Shot 43.4% from the field. 40% from 3, which I like. 8.8 points per game. So he's 6'6", 200 pounds. So it's probably a guy that you'd be looking at to play the 3. So to me, if you have a starting lineup that features Doug McDaniel, Nimari Burnett, let's say that they land AJ Storr. Right? It's way early for that. You got to figure out the 4 still. Hunter Dickinson, and part of it too. Again, now I'm just kind of, my brain's all over the place. But maybe the decision for guys like Hunter Dickinson and Kobe Buffkin, if you're making the pitch, listen, last year was unacceptable. We're not going to let it happen again. We're going to plug this hole with, with Nirmari Burnett, who Hunter should know. They came up through the same recruiting class. Store, I should say, also an Illinois guy. He's from Rockford, which I think is like an hour north or so from Chicago. So another Illinois guy. All of a sudden, I kind of like how this board's shaking out for them. Kind of feels like they're trending in the right direction with BJ Mack. Big forward center combo. Don't know if he's a starter, but all of a sudden the board's coming together, and Burnett's a good start. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. It'd be great to land these transfers and then also get your guys back, and then all of a sudden the depth is a huge issue. All of a sudden your depth issue is addressed, but I don't think that's going to be what happens. But right now, piecing things together, because the transfer portal is patchwork. Your recruiting is the drywall job, but the patchwork you fix a hole in the wall. It's like a home improvement project, right? I think we talked about that recently on one of these. So we'll see what happens. I like where things are at right now, though. So
no doubt. We're going to end it there. That is going to be our show. Thank you, everybody, for listening, for watching. One more reminder, go Tigers, as Anthony is drinking out of a Tigers water bottle, wearing a Tigers hat. Go Tigers. But also give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Like the video. Subscribe to our channel as we climb towards 22,000 subscribers. And subscribe to our podcast feed as well. Also a reminder that we are doing our spring ball special only until Monday over at thewolverine.com. You get premium access to all of our content over there for $10 for just 4 months. So join us over there and get all of our coverage on Michigan basketball, football, and recruiting, 24/7 around the clock coverage. And we will see everyone next time.